Our next guest is a man of 1,000 costumes. And seeing as we're so close to Halloween, I can't wait to see what he's dressed as right now. I'm on pins and needles. I'm going to move this over so we get it in full view. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him. He has a song that we sing in his honor that we're not doing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chau!
Okay, I just wanted to lower your expectations just a little bit. Lower. And alright. Thanks guys. Little bit of a false intro. I'm not wearing a costume. I just want to lower that expectation down 3 notches.
Why are you talking high like that? What are you doing?
And okay, hi.
If we're gonna be honest with each other, you're kind of wearing a costume. You're dressed like a frat guy. And the other thing is, so Osric came in the green room this morning, and always did like to see Osric Chau.
Can I do it?
Yeah, sure.
Please do. I'll watch.
Osric came in, and Osric was like, Rich, you're not even commenting on what I'm wearing. And he puts his leg up on a chair.
He goes like that, yeah.
And then Rich is on his computer with his old man glasses on, and Rich is like, pants? What? I don't get why people laughing.
You know what's funny about that? Nothing. You never know if Chau's gonna show up in pants. That's a legit. I stand behind that. I was surprised to see you in trousers. And relieved.
You're not wearing high heels? I don't get it.
Okay, I've had numerous conversations with Richard about shoes. There's not that many things that we actually, we can talk about or relate to or, share knowledge with. So we've had numerous conversations about shoes, one of which are these.
Red Wings.
Red Wings. And I walk past a Red Wings store every single day when I go to this coffee shop right on my block. And this one day I just decided to go in. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get some. I'm going to be a big boy and get some big boy shoes.
But and we're all very proud of you. That's not the real talking point though. The talking point is the timepiece. That's the thing. It's the watch. Osric now has a watch. It's not digital or nothing. It's a good old-fashioned watch.
She's all grown up.
Tell time like the bigs.
I spent a couple of days in Dubai with Richard, Jensen, and Cliff, and...
Like you do.
The old annual Dubai trip.
Well, they're on me all week about me not knowing who B.B. King was. I do now. Okay, right.
It was disconcerting, to say the least.
And they're talking about all these things and like watch. I'm like, why do you need a watch? I got my phone, and I have these awesome costumes that I could probably put a clock in if I wanted to.
It was my favorite. One of my favorite gins. It was all apples. Chau, get a watch.
I'm like, no, but I got this crazy costume. I need an engineer on it. It's gonna have like electronics, lights, and like speaker system. It's gonna be like super crazy. It's gonna be the most like ridiculous cosplay that ever existed.
Does it tell time?
That's exactly Jensen's reaction.
Buy a watch. That's never what he said. Osric was like, I can't buy a watch. I'm spending all my money on this thing I'm gonna wear for one night. He's like, buy a watch. And it only took 8 months later, and proof, he bought a watch. Ladies and gentlemen, the new shoed, watch-wearing Osric Chau.
Wow. To be fair, it wasn't 8 months, it was a year and a half. I do have a costume though. That is tonight at karaoke. And Atlanta karaoke, this happens to be our Halloween-themed karaoke. And this reminds me of the second convention I ever went to was, third convention I ever went to was Chicago. And there was like a big mishap. I did Princess Bubblegum, the convention before. And it was so weird that I'm like, oh, maybe I should wear costumes. And then I wore nothing to ChicagoCon, and that happened to be the Halloween con, but no one told me. So I came in normal clothes, and everyone else had a costume. And of course, they made fun of me the entire weekend. It's like, wait, you show up as a princess last time, and now there's nothing? Well, this time I do have a costume, and I borrowed it from a friend, and it's pretty friggin' awesome. So I'm really excited. We had planned our costumes already, and then they changed their minds last minute, but I pulled it together, and it fits. I'm really excited to show y'all. So who's going to karaoke tonight? Excellent. If it's your first time, please sign up. It's a hoot. Hi there, let's open up the floor.
Hi, Osric, we already met in meet and greet, but I wanted to ask, I didn't get a chance. Who's your favorite Backstreet Boy? Because as we were talking about this
We're talking about, I went to Salt Lake City Comic-Con this year, and they had some Backstreet Boys members and NSYNC members, and I was at the lounge after, and I was like watching them interact with each other, and it was like blowing my mind. Because I grew up with like, there was that rivalry, and you know, there's just the enemies, and you know, bitter rivals, but it was blowing my mind. Like, oh my god, they're talking like they like each other. My favorite Backstreet Boy, that is hard. That is really hard. Richard, do you have a favorite Backstreet Boy?
Oh, I mean, they're all so great.
Well,
That's my jam.
Growing up, I guess it was Kevin. Oh my god. Didn't even realize it. Had nothing to do with my character on the show. But it was Kevin. I just saw you like, man, what a cool dude. And then I think vocally, AJ, definitely. Howie was always the forgotten one in my eyes, but like later on, I'm like, oh, Howie, he's pretty good. And I mean, Brian was always the leader of the group, so you know, I mean, that was too obvious, so I didn't go with him. And Nick, you know, all the girls really like Nick. So I'm like, no, not Nick. Kevin. Who's your favorite?
Nick, that's a 13-year-old girl. What do you say?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. The parted hair.
Yes.
That look didn't work very well for me. Nick, yeah, it's always Nick. But Kevin and AJ, I think seriously, AJ's voice is like so, I don't know, it's that raspy, you know, dangerous. Sounds kind of like Mark Shepard singing voice. There's just, you know, it's like rain, it's a nice texture to it. It just like massages your ears. Yeah. That was a great question. Now, if I had a favorite NSYNCer, it was probably, I can't even remember the name now. JC? Is that a real name? JC. Yeah, and then he did that weird sex song. I'm like, this kind of doesn't work out for me. I mean, Justin obviously did the best, but, well, boy bands. That brings back. I was really big into 98 Degrees and Westlife. If you're signing up for karaoke, feel free to go with any of these tracks. They're great. Wow. Nostalgia. Also, I wanted to share, because I heard the last question, I've known Julian for years, and I never noticed that he had an accent. Until someone just pointed it out. And now I hear it, and it's blowing my mind. And I think it's because I know in my mind that he lives in Toronto, so right away I just like, oh, he's Canadian, he doesn't have an accent. And I know, like, all of these interactions I've had with him, just talking to him, it had never occurred to me that he might not be Canadian. What is his accent? It's like, it's from England, I guess?
Yeah.
Right? I never heard it. Until someone asked him that question.
I never hear it.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to him later and ask him about that. Yeah, it's one of those moments where you just, I don't know, you just, from Toronto, Julian from Toronto. Anyways, thought I'd share that oversight. Thank you for your question. I know.
Hi, Osric, we adore you in case you couldn't tell, and we love your natural Osric costume as well.
I should also share that I have recently acquired 143 of them. Meaning that I have gotten all of the ones that I possibly can in North America and the one in Europe. I'm just missing Australia and Asia. And I'm going to Asia at the end of the year. Not just for that, but you know. Sorry, I completely got sidetracked. What was your question?
I've considered that Kevin Tran, and Osric too, would be the perfect companion for the Doctor. So where would Kevin or Osric go if he could use a TARDIS to go anywhere in space and time?
My goodness, the infinite possibilities of the TARDIS. Back to the days of the dinosaur. I really love the, I don't know, just primal living in the sense that I would probably have a rock, and I'd have to use that rock. I don't know, just like primitive tools. There's something really nice about that. Seeing how long I could survive without being eaten by a dinosaur. Seeing if I could tame a dinosaur, maybe ride a stegosaurus, which is one of my childhood dreams. So many things. Yeah, probably one of the dinosaurs. I mean, you know what? I've only watched like maybe 6, 7 episodes of Doctor Who. I know, it's supposed to be a really good show. But I live in a house that's nicknamed TARDIS House. And we have TARDISes everywhere. Lamps, cardboard cutouts, little figurines, TARDISes kind of everywhere. So I'm surrounded by Doctor Who. I'm going to use this to tangent into plugging my new show, which is called Dirt Gently. Which, when I read the script, I'm like, oh my god, this is a great script. This reminds me of Sherlock, Supernatural, and Doctor Who. Absolutely. I just saw it on Tuesday, and it is good. And it's such a sign of relief to be able to say that, that I thoroughly enjoyed it. It doesn't butcher the source material, and it's fun and weird and quirky and all of these things, and it's got an incredible group of people that came together to do it. So yeah, it's a mystery show, so it's kind of like Sherlock. It's got a ton of supernatural elements and humor, so that it's got like the Doctor Who kind of a comedy, and I guess it's supernatural because it's about family too. Yeah, it's really good, and it comes out tomorrow. But we're all here, so I'm going to try to find an hour to go off and watch it. Yeah, I think I would go back to the dinosaurs. I think that's the time where I'm most curious about, just to see, just to explore, without worrying about changing the future too much. Because let's say an asteroid does come out, so even if I do kill like a giant mosquito by accident, it won't change the present me, which obviously wouldn't be able to go back and change the past. Sorry, I can't get on time travel. I've been thinking about time travel. Okay, never mind. Anyways. There's a big conundrum on time traveling. Has anyone read the Harry Potter Cursed Child?
Yes.
Now, I mean, it's nice because it's Harry Potter, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I'm like, well, if they're changing this in the future, or no, they're changing the past, but that will affect the future, and if they're gone, then they could never have come back to change the past, right? So then that doesn't make any sense. Is that, okay. Anyways. Enough about time travel. Time travel is a conundrum. I'm watching Dragon Ball Super right now, and they're doing the same thing, but it's like every time you travel back, you create your own alternate reality. That's just too confusing. Okay, thank you for your question.
So I've always been kind of curious to know what Kevin's favorite subject was in school.
Kevin's favorite subject? Social studies. Kevin very much wanted to be the first Asian American president of the United States. And I think a lot of that is in social studies. He loves history, he loves, I think he just likes to do good things. You know, Kevin was never about himself, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's been my favorite character, is because he lived his entire life to the very end serving something that was a greater purpose. So even if he may not have been right in all of the ways he did it, or in the ideology, you knew that his heart was in the right place the entire time, and that's what I loved about Kevin. So I think he would definitely, social studies, he'd want to be a politician, and he'd be an idealist, and I like that about Kevin. Thank you. Hi. Sorry, I can't hear you. Is there a mic?
My question is, I was wondering how you got into contact with Hollywood show or vice versa, because that was a huge thing to us, so I was wondering.
Oh, how I got in touch with the Hollywood show. So, one of my favorite things about doing conventions is that you get to meet random people from shows that you may watch or you may not have any idea about. And I signed on to do this one convention in Spain, and it was my first time in Spain, so I just got off the airport. They're like, oh, is it okay if we share a car with these girls? They're YouTubers. I'm like, yeah, sure. And so that's when I met Hillary and Hannah, and you know, we're just talking about the stuff that we do, and they're like, yeah, we make these little YouTube videos. I'm like, well, let me see. I'm like, I'd love to check one out. So they gave me one of their business cards. I went to the hotel room after, and I checked it out, and I saw the Doctor Who one, which was the first one I saw, and the production value was so good. I'm like, oh my god, like you got not only a whole set, but like the choreography, you got like the cameras, like the whole jib setup, like that is not something that you just, you know, shoot for fun in your backyard. You know, this is on a completely different level. And so the next day I was just like, you completely undersold yourself, you know, and I just kept raving about it, and they're like, no, we just like to do this because it's fun. But we got along really well, and you know, with that group of the guests that were there, we ended up kind of hanging out in Spain, and the World Cup was going on, so we watched some soccer games and had ice cream and I don't know, the normal stuff. And I guess we connected, and at some point I just got, you know, a text message from Hillary saying, it's like, hey, we're doing a next parody of, like, you want to be in it? I'm like, is it Supernatural? I'm like, I will do any character except Kevin. I'm like, no, it's doing The Walking Dead. We still haven't like started watching Supernatural yet. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, probably Glenn. I'm like, yes, I'll do Glenn. And it was Glenn. But it was a lot of fun. And you know, like pretty much throughout the entire time, I was just like pushing. I'm like, you guys should do a Supernatural one. Like, when are you gonna do a Supernatural one? And it was like, we're just waiting for the right idea. And then it just kind of worked out, and at some point they're like, okay, we have an idea for Supernatural. I'm like, great, please let me do Crowley. Like, I really pushed doing Crowley. And we had a convention in Vegas, and that's where they live. And so like, you know, maybe we can get some of the other guys on the show. And so I just reached out. Richard was totally on board, and he helped kind of like herd us all. And before I knew it, like almost everyone's like, yeah, let's do this thing that we have no idea about. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And I had to cancel originally because I was gonna shoot this movie in Romania. And so I had to cancel, and then they found someone that looked kind of like Crowley, And I'm like, oh, that's such a bummer. And then last minute got canceled. I'm like, by the way, I'm available anywhere. I'm available now. I don't know if you've already. And they're like, it's like, well, we still need a Sam. Do you want to do Sam? I'm like, sure. I don't know how that works, but okay. I mean, I guess I'm taller than you, and it turned out pretty cool. You know, and they're doing their next one right now. I don't know if they've announced it. I was going to be a part of it, but I'm working that week that they're shooting, so I couldn't. Yeah, it's fun to work on any independent production because, you know, these productions are people coming together just for the love of the project, and certainly with them and their group, everyone that's there wants to be there, and there's something really cool about it. So yeah, though I'm kind of bummed out that I'm missing this next one. This was the first time they asked me to do a girl character. And because I'm like, you're always cross-dressing as guys. I'm like, shouldn't you have like, you know, like I would totally do a girl character. And she's like, no, that's a lot of work. And this is the first time they asked me to do a girl character, and can't do it. So maybe the next one. I'm really pushing for them to do some anime, just because I'm a big anime fan. And there haven't been very many good live-action adaptations, but I think they could pull it off. So we'll see. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Osric, bring that over.
Oh, hey.
So I had a question about Kevin's first episode. Yeah, you're about like, what, 5'8", 5'9"-ish? Yeah.
5'8", 5'9" with boots on.
How did it feel when you were running from 6'4", Jared Padalecki, in the courtyard scene? You just looked terrified.
That is probably one of my favorite days, if not my favorite. So I used to run track in school, among other things. And at this time, I was kind of like still pretty fresh into my martial arts training. So I was in really good shape, and I was kind of shy about it, and then I never talked about it. But if I ever were challenged, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll show you what I got. And so this was one of those moments where Jared is in incredible shape too. And he's got really long legs, but just, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, pretty sure I can run faster than him. He's got long distance on me by miles and miles. I'll do 1 mile and he'll probably do 20. But short distance, I can be pretty fast. So, right off the bat, they were like, okay, so we're gonna, it was like maybe the length of this room, like you're gonna start here, we call action, you just run to the end, and we'll catch you. And I'm here, Jared's like here, and he's like okay, right. And he was taking like huge steps back, and I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, all right, okay. I was slightly nervous because I was wearing loafers, because Kevin wore loafers. But as soon as it started, I just bolted out, and by the end of it, I turned around, and Jared was just out of breath, still catching up. And he didn't say anything. And that's because I'm super competitive, that's just one of those moments yes! I wish I were confident enough to brag, but I'm just gonna keep this to myself. And then they're like, okay, we didn't catch any of that, so you're gonna go there, and then you're gonna go here, and then we're gonna zigzag this, and that was fine. But I used to be a stuntman. That's the background that I came from, and so anytime I get to do any physical or any action stuff, that's where I thrive, and that's what I really like. When they zapped me with lightning, so one of the first shots that you see Kevin in, they gave me a choice. It's like, okay, so we have this full body harness, so while we lift you up, it'll be fine, it'll be kind of comfortable, but it might look a little bulky, so we don't know if it'll look good. And then we have this thing, it's kind of like underwear. You might not be able to breathe, but it's gonna look a lot better. I'm like, give me the underwear. And so, 5 hours, I'm like kind of like half suspended, just toes barely on the floor, unable to breathe. So like, that's the time where I'm like, yes, this is what I live for. The other one just seemed too easy. So anytime I get any action thing when there's like, okay, like we only have one shot at this, if you screw up, there goes, I mean, we can only throw one car out of the window. Like those are the moments where I'm like, okay, I got this. And I know, that's when the adrenaline pumps for me. That's when like all the pressure happens. And I think it comes down back to my martial arts days. So when I used to compete in martial arts, I did a martial art called wushu, which is essentially what Jet Li used to compete in. So it's a very flowery, very performance-based martial art, and it's essentially a figure skating routine or a gymnastics floor routine mixed with some martial arts. But just in the way that it was set up, if you made one mistake, your score would just plummet and you would be out of the running. And so we would practice to be perfect. And so every time you stepped up on there, it was like, this is the one chance you have of getting it right. And so I got into the habit of doing that, and it really helped with auditioning and doing stunt work, because you don't want to be the person that screws up. Yeah, so I thrive off of that pressure. I really enjoy it. And sometimes films, it feels too, I don't know, easy in that, oh, I messed up, I gotta try again. Oh, and then at some point it loses its freshness. So that's, in that sense, I really like action movies, in that if I mess up, I could potentially, actually this one time I almost punched Mark Sheppard in the face. Because I got really into it. You know that scene where I'm like beating down on Crowley? Because, he tortured my mom and all that? Well, as I'm swinging, I get really into it. And this one is like that, and I felt his beard. And Mark's a pro. He's like selling it, and then that one he's like, dude, nice. That's it, I'm like, oh shit. Take a step back, I'm like, right, we don't need to do that. Yeah, I love action scenes. God. I almost punched Mark Sheppard in the face.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That would have been a story, not a great one though. Hey there.
What was it like to be on the show?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
What was it like to be on the show?
What was it like to be on the show? On the show as in while we're shooting, or watching myself on TV, or being here? Past, present, future? Are you an actor? Do you want to be an actor? Ah, so you want to be an actor. Have you acted in school play? Any short films? Okay. What it's like to be on this show, or any show, is having that, it's a sense of freedom in creative expression. That's all it is. In school, do you ever do like a school project that you really like, or are they all boring for you? Okay, so for me, when I was in school, I hated taking tests. I didn't like to study because it felt like I was just trying to memorize a lot of things, and then I'd forget them as soon as the test was over. But what I really did enjoy was doing a school project. And so that's when, usually, if it's a good class, they let you pick your friends to work with, and then you come together and you make like a castle made out of sugar cubes. Or, I don't know, just like some really fun, sometimes really stupid things, but that's part of the fun. And that's kind of what it's like to be on this show, or any show. Is that you come together with a group of friends, and you're like, hey, there's this project that we want to do. Let's come together and do it. And you make it, and sometimes it's great, and you get to keep making more, sometimes it's not, and then you find another group of friends to make it with. But that's all it is. It's people that want to do stuff, and once you do enough of it, you get kind of good at doing it. Is that? Oh. Let's not read into that. Have you ever been to summer camp? Oh, okay. If you ever go to summer camp, no, that's hypothetical camp is tough. But yeah, it's just a class project, except usually it's something that you choose to do because you want to do it, and it's with people that hopefully, everyone's working together. So there's not just that one person who does all the work and everyone just sits back. That can't happen. That's not a good class. So this is a group of people where everyone tries to do everything to help each other out, and it's just kind of fun when you get to finally create that thing and you're really proud to present it to the rest of the class. That's the best I got for you. Thank you for your question. Very brave to come up to the microphone. Who's here? That's Julian? Oh, that makes sense. Hi.
If you were a writer and you were tasked with bringing Kevin back into the show, how would you write it back in?
If I was a writer on Supernatural and I would bring Kevin back to the show, at this moment in time, he's in heaven, I would bring chaos to heaven. I would do some crazy stuff to heaven, and it somehow affects the earth and hell and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the Windchurch is like, oh crap, we can't ignore this. Castiel's like, yeah, we can't ignore this. But I'm on earth, what can I do about it? It's like, oh, Kevin's in heaven. Or Kevin's in heaven. So is Bobby. And probably Charlie. And then we get to be like the heavenly agents that deals with the heaven stuff while they're figuring out the earth stuff, and as we figure out the heaven stuff, the answers are on earth, but we gotta do it in heaven and then it affects the earth. I mean, when I write it out, it'll be a lot clearer than that. I'll think about it some more and we'll see what it comes. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I was wondering what the craziest or dumbest thing you've ever done to catch a Pokemon is.
Okay. For the longest time, the last Pokemon I got was Lickitung. And that Lickitung was my unicorn because I had seen him way back and he just ran away. And so for the longest time on my Pokedex, it's like seen 143, caught 142, and that was just like the biggest itch. So my Lickitung stories, there are a few. The first one was in Vancouver during VanCon, and I'm a little ashamed to say this, but I used this third-party app called PokeRadar, or GoRadar, and a Lickitung pops up. And there's 2 minutes left before it disappears, and it's 2 blocks away. And it's like maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I'm in my underwear in the hotel room. And I just put on my shoes and I bolt out of there. And the GPS was really bad because we're in the tower, and I'm like figuring out where it is, and I ran 2 blocks, and I finally see it, and as soon as I get there, it disappears. To which I realized that I'm in my boxers. Like out in the middle of the street. Thankfully it was like 2 a.m. Second Lickitung event. I always like conventions for some reason. So this was in Minneapolis. And in my hotel again, pops up, not on the GoRadar, but like it's right there. I walk to the corner of the room, still too far. I go outside to the hallway, still too far. I'm like, I just need to take a step outside this hotel, and I'm close enough. I don't even know how long it's gonna be. So I rush downstairs, wait for the elevator, like super impatient, and I go down there, and this is also like 1, 2 a.m. Richard, Rob, the band, they all like come, they're like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, I'm just gonna like step outside for like a minute. And they're like, why aren't you wearing any shoes? I'm like, I don't need to go out, you know, I just need to take a step outside. It's like, no, you're not gonna go outside with those shoes. You know how dangerous that is? And they basically like, just come hang out with us. You know, don't be super antisocial. I'm like, but I just, I'm like, there's just this thing that I want to catch. And they just usher me back to their room. And I'm like, oh. And for months, that was like the only one that I hadn't gotten. Until it finally hatched from an egg. So it worked out. And honestly, when I saw it, I'm like, yeah. It was a surreal moment. The lick of tongue was very elusive for a while. Even like, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to Rob, I'm like, Rob, remember that time? Like, I still haven't gotten it. Yeah. Do you have an embarrassing Pokemon Go story? I have so many. Do you have one? Share one of yours.
I was at work and I'm a waitress, and there were quite a few tables in the restaurant. And it was when I first started, and there was a Bulbasaur in the middle, smack dab in the middle, where there was like a party of 20 and like a bunch of people. And one of my managers plays Pokemon Go, and I looked at him and I was like, Jason, there's a Bulbasaur over there. And he goes, don't. I was like, Claire, no. And I looked at him, and I looked at the CP, and it was like 300 something. And I just started, I was like level 3 or something. So I looked at him, I was like, Claire, yes. And I ran out into the middle of the dining room with my phone, fully in uniform, and all the tables looked at me, and I was like, I'm sorry. And I caught it.
How long did it take? How long were you standing in front of the table watching you do that?
It was a really long time. It took at least 5 tries, but I kind of looked over and I was like, there was a Bulbasaur.
And then you realize that option that lets you click it so that you don't have to actually be there?
What?
If you turn off if you turn off the augmented reality, you just click it and you can be anywhere. You could be under the counter and it's the same.
Where were you 2 months ago?
Okay, I'll share one more story. This is the first incident that happened. So Pokemon Go came out on my birthday, and I'm like, not gonna. Well, actually, no. Sorry, no. It came out 2 days before my birthday, and that's basically as long as I lasted. And so I started playing, and I was working on this project, and I just got level 5, and that meant the gyms opened up to me. And so I finished it. I don't know why they're always super late, but I finished at 2 a.m. So I'm driving home, and I see this gym that I knew before. I'm like, oh, you know, maybe I'll try taking down a gym. No, it was very not well defended, and so I pulled over. I'm like, it's a little bit too far. And it's like, I guess it's not on the street, it's kind of like on the inside. So I pulled around back, and it's in this alleyway. So I go into this alleyway, and there's like no light, so I just like pull over, and I'm like taking down this gym because I'm a really low level, it's taken a while. And all of a sudden, this cop car pulls up beside me. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure I'm out of the way. And they just like pull up right beside me, and they're like, roll down your window. And I roll down my window. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't know if you guys know, but there's this like new game. It's the Pokemon game. There's a gym here, but it's like in a weird place. So there's no one here. I thought I would take it down when no one was, looking. And this was before Pokemon Go was released in Canada, and this was in Vancouver. And so they just looked at me for a second, and like, yeah, we've had a lot of those today. And they're like, it's not available in Canada. How do we get it on? So they spent the next 20 minutes like setting it up for them, downloading it on their phones. That was a good adventure. Yeah. Things happen when you leave the house or the hotel room. Ridiculous. I think that's probably my favorite thing about the game is that it's making me leave. Like when I go to an appointment now, I'll park like a couple blocks away just so I can walk there. All these things that it's making me do. Hi.
Hi. First off, I just wanted to thank you for your On the Hunt campaign and all the money and attention you raised for Dreams to Acts. We actually really missed you on the trip this year.
Oh, hey. I went to Nicaragua with this lady. Wait, what's the, okay, are there any updates on the school?
The school is almost finished. We just finished the staircase on the side. The windows are up, the doors are up. They're finishing the inside, putting up like the whiteboards and everything, and it should hopefully, fingers crossed, be ready by February.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Put your hands. Who doesn't know what Random Acts is, or what organization that is? Okay, that's good. Does anyone not know about the Nicaragua Dream Stack project? Okay, everybody does. Okay, a couple of people. So in November, I went with the group of wonderful volunteers, and we started helping, I mean, honestly, more watching, but kind of helped build this school that it's going to be a free school for the people in San Juan del Sur.
San Juan del Sur, yep.
Thank you. San Juan del Sur. And basically, say if someone has a child, they can't go to school and raise the child at the same time, or the time when they have to work, that's when the schools are. And so this school is there for like the off hours, and the teachers are all volunteers to help educate people who can't go to school during normal hours so that they can hopefully get a better education, get a better job to hopefully support their parents or their family. And it was just such a wonderful experience being in, I think Nicaragua is the second poorest country in the Americas. And it was just such an eye-opening experience. Like going there, we couldn't even brush our teeth with the tap water because that would make you sick. I got sick from drinking a 7-Up there. It's just, the water there was so unclean, and it's something that we take for granted here. We can drink tap water here in LA. It might not be the best, but certainly it won't make you sick. And there was just something really cool about seeing people, this community come together, wanting to, help each other and just do better for themselves. So it definitely made all of us, we all bought into it. We really want to help, and it was cool to see where the money from this organization was going. And they did a second trip in July this year, and I couldn't make it. But the school is already way more complete than I ever imagined. So when I was there last November, it was still foundation, and now they had 2 stories, the stairs are done, like you can walk around in it. And it's just cool. I know what you're capable of if you just start doing stuff. And yeah, no, that's, any updates? How was this trip? Any highlights? Not only, on our first trip, yes, we helped build the school, but we also helped some of the local communities build water filters, eco stoves, something for them to use. And so we certainly did a lot of other charities while we were there as well. Did you guys do anything that sticks out?
Yeah, we worked with the Sister City Project again, which is the water filters, so we went to a different village. We also got a tour around the campus and saw where the other 2 buildings are. So, like I said, the first building's almost done. They're about to start construction on the second building, which is going to hold about 4 classrooms. I think that'll be about 10 classrooms in total, and it'll service 329 students at a time.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for volunteering your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the On the Hunt campaign honestly was an excuse to play Pokemon, but also to help boost the Nicaragua project. It kind of came really soon after the first trip, so they didn't have enough time to fundraise as much as they were hoping to. So I thought, I can play this game and justify it, and help this thing out that I kind of wish I was able to go back to, but I was working at the time. So if you supported that, thank you so much for your support. They're almost there, so yay. Hi.
Hi, so I was wondering how you reacted when you found out that your character was gonna die.
When I found out I was gonna die, I thought I was gonna die so many times. I thought I was gonna die my third episode. I was supposed to die in season 7. I was supposed to die first thing season 8, then mid-season finale season 8, then at the end of season 8. And by the time season 9 came around, I'm like, they're not gonna kill me. And how I found out was Jared told me. He's like, hey, I just got like a long outline or whatever, like just like of the rundown, and like, sorry man, like I'm killing you. And everybody knows how big of a prankster Jared is. First thing I didn't believe him, like, you're an idiot, like just shut up. And sure enough, like there was, I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, they've changed their mind before, maybe they'll change it again, and you know, it just slowly became a real thing, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks. And then, I mean, it was just one of those weird things, you know, and then you're like, oh, they might bring you back, and then they did, like 2 episodes later, but it was a bit sad. You know, this was the first show that kind of felt like, you know, I was going home to. And every time you do a project, you do it, and you disperse, and you almost never see the people again, but for Supernatural, you know, I was back every other month, so it kind of felt nice to kind of go home, and it felt like family, and it really is that sense on set, because everyone's been there for 10 years plus, you know, and if you really think about it, like, most of them they've gotten married, they've had numerous kids, they've gone through, everyone that's been on it since the beginning have been through, like, so many huge milestones of their lives together in this group that they're working with 10 months out of the year, and sometimes they vacation together. So it's, you know, that's a tight group. So being welcomed into that and being part of that is something very special. So certainly it was a little sad, but even now, you know, when I'm shooting in Vancouver, I'll see a couple of the crew members every now and then. I mean, I get to see the guys all the time. So it's just nice to see some familiar faces. Hi.
So you may not remember me, but I remember Mrs. Bubblegum.
Oh yeah. Hi.
My question is that what was one of your favorite places that you like to catch Pokemon? Because I know you like scenery. So.
One of my favorite was in Hawaii. So my brother got married this year, last month, 2 months ago? I can't remember. He got married at some point this summer, and I was there, apparently. And it was in Hawaii, and there weren't that many Pokestops there, but we would go to like a Walmart, and they just kept popping up. I don't know why. And we went snorkeling, and this is my first time snorkeling, so we go on this boat, and like everyone has like their incense on. But we're going snorkeling in all these different locations, and we see like dolphins and sea turtles and all these fish. And at the very end of the trip, a Snorlax pops out. And our entire boat like, Snorlax! It was the weirdest thing. And then these kids on the dock were like, Snorlax where? We're like, it's over there. And like as like a group, we just go, we all catch a Snorlax together. And I think that was my favorite thing. I'm like guys, you realize that we saw dolphins and sea turtles and whales, and we're more excited for the Snorlax. And they're like, yeah, but mine's like 1800 whatever CP. I'm like, all right, yeah, fair point. But yeah, I think Hawaii was probably the most fun because I got to hang out with my family and we played it there. Like, my brother was getting married, but he picked me up from the airport and it took us 3 hours to get home. It was a 10-minute drive. Because we just kept going around, they're like, yeah, I'm out of Pokeballs, I have to do it wrong. And he was getting married, and he's like, Jen's gonna hate this, but it was a lot of fun. Probably Hawaii. Yeah, you're welcome. Hey there.
Hey, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
I'm Victoria. So what in your
there are no best pranks. I mean, the most elaborate one is with the frying pan. Jared had I had a choice between a rubber frying pan or like a cast iron 20-pound frying pan. Being the person that I am, I picked the cast iron frying pan. And so I'm like, oh, geez, this is really heavy. And so I put it down, I was talking to the director, and Jared spends the next 10, 20 minutes like playing with the frying pan, like, you know, doing that face like, oh, this is really heavy, in my periphery, right? And so he wasn't like putting on a show, but he definitely was. And I was talking to him, and at the very end, he just throws that at me. He's like, hey, Chau, catch. And I freak out, and I'm trying to catch it, and it's the rubber one. We spent 20 minutes doing that, and at some point when I wasn't looking, he just like flips it, and he just kept doing that. He's dedicated to his pranks. Let's do one more question. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
So, Kevin is a pretty skilled character. What was his advanced placement and whatnot? My question is, if you could master any skill immediately, what would it be?
Oh. That's almost like superpower. Currently, I'm learning how to play the piano.
And just can I say real quick, he started a week ago, and he's killing it. It's amazing.
Mozart.
In the green room, we have a piano set up that Mike practices on. And I was right, let me see, right?
It's the watch.
If I could, I think I would learn Arabic instantly. I think there's a couple languages that I've always wanted to learn, and Arabic is the furthest from any of the other languages that I speak. So I would like the skill of being able to communicate fully in Arabic. Because the other ones are kind of related to English, like German I want to learn, Japanese I want to learn, Spanish I want to learn, but it's kind of close to English, French, and Chinese. So, Arabic.
Alright, cool, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Chau,
Yeah.
are you coming to karaoke tonight? What's the deal?
Oh yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Wait, do you notice that nobody's moved Jason Mann's mic? We're just all walking under it.
I know. Is he that tall?
Yes, that's the.
Honestly, I don't think any of us were aware it was even there because we're walking under.
It's like I'm not aware of the chandelier. So
I think it's because I talk to his beard, so he doesn't feel that tall.
What about tomorrow night? You gonna do a little something Saturday night special?
Yes, sir, I am.
You
Yeah.
got something new cooking up, right? Is there
Do I have something
fresh
new?
batch new?
New to Atlanta.
New to Atlanta?
Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chau.
Thank you, guys.